A friend of mine on Facebook, who I guess I don't have to hide her identity because she has commented on a number of my videos, thank you, Eliana, brought up in a post of hers about the civilizing factors that have caused the human form to adapt the way it has. What many people don't understand is there's a lot of this nonsense about going back to the Paleolithic era and eating like a caveman and all this other stuff. But the Paleolithic era is not where humans thrived. We thrived more in the agrarian era. And the agrarian era is marked by, well, grain production and a starch based diet supplemented with small amounts of meat and a good amount of vegetables, okay, and legumes and things of that nature. Now, what's funny is this lifestyle, regardless of the race, this is what you have to understand, regardless of the race, this lifestyle is what has formed what we would call civilization, with family units, with great advances in technology. It is the agrarian lifestyle that has caused civilization to move forward. It's what also sparked the Industrial Revolution. Ironically, what many people don't understand, the fuel for the Industrial Revolution, even more so than oil, was the potato, the starchy potato, which came from South America, which was a cheap fuel source for the worker. Okay? But what I'm going to get at is this. There's a large push by many in the nationalist community to return to a more, how can I put this, a more aggressive hunter-gatherer type loot and pillage mindset, whether it's Asatru or shamanism or things of this nature. They want to re-embrace this super primitive mindset. But this super primitive mindset, which is expressed in the barbarian people, okay, is not what will move us forward. And when we're looking at what made civilization great, it is the agrarian lifestyle, not the loot and pillage mindset of the Viking, and certainly not the nomadic ideology of things like the Mongolian people and things like that. Now, everybody knows I am a great respecter of Genghis Khan, because Genghis Khan stopped the Islamification of the world. If not for Genghis Khan, perhaps the whole world would be Muslim. But getting back into this concept, now, when you look at the ancient Inca, the ancient Aztec, the ancient Romans, the ancient Babylonians, all these civilized people, you see an agrarian lifestyle. Now, the barbarian tribes, which would be like the Celts, the Gauls, the Germanics, the Slavs, people of this nature, you do see a moving toward an agrarian lifestyle. But you do not see, how can I put this? You do not see the same degree of agrarian civilization. The fuel is not there. Food and water is fuel for civilization. When you lack sufficient food and water, you lack the ability to become civilized. Now, what you see again is, for example, compare the North African civilizations of, say, like, let's say, Egypt, to some of the more Southern African civilizations. Now, of course, genetics does play a very important role. The genetic difference between a Caucasoid North African and a Negroid South African does play a very important role. However, what you see with the hunter-gatherer people, whether it's the Native American in the Americas or some of the more European people, such as the Germanics and things of this nature, where they do have a low-level agrarian lifestyle, but still heavily rely on hunter-gatherer techniques, or at least hunter techniques, to supplement their diet with meat, you see a more primitive lifestyle and less of a stable civilization. So I guess what I'm saying is, when you look, and this is what you have to understand, when you look at religions, for example, shamanism. Shamanism is a great example, because shamanism, the Mongolian religion of shamanism, or Tengerism, is basically consistent from Mongolia and Siberia all the way through the Americas, with the exception of the civilized Mesoamerican people, who created a religion in many ways very similar to Christianity, a bit more savage than Christianity, but on par with the where Christianity comes from, the more Roman or Babylonian pagan religions, which eventually evolved into what we would call Christianity, a more civilized Christian type belief system, where you have no more blood sacrifice, things of that nature. But you did not, and this is why the similarity of the two agrarian civilizations of the Mesoamerican and the European Christian. This is why I believe you see Mesoamericans adopted the Christian belief system so readily, is the similarity of the sacrificial God, and of course the ideal nature of replacing the human sacrifice with the mock human sacrifice of the Eucharist. Now, going further, this is why we must seek to not go too far back atavistically. When you go back to a hunter-gatherer mindset, a true hunter-gatherer mindset, you are basically cultivating a more of a Africanist type mentality, of me get what's mine type of mentality. And this is not, you can't build a reliable civilization on such a primitive mindset. You need to cultivate that agrarian mindset.